Yes, guys, first ever proper video with the lads on Football Saddos, and we're going to start it off with the upcoming fixture of the West London derby, Chelsea and Fulham playing each other. Now, so many things have happened to both teams this week. I mean, Fulham, hate to talk about this, but getting a draw against Tottenham.
Less said about that, the better.
You think we were going to start the video without mentioning that, didn't you?
You know what, Idan, you're a Chelsea fan right now. Before we talk about the main sort of things, I say we should speak about the derby specifically.
Of course.
This West London derby. I mean, you as a Chelsea fan, how do you honestly feel about playing Fulham? You know, does it bring you that derby adrenaline?
You know what they say? They call it the Elderflower Cordial Derby because we're both in a nice area of London. So, that's for start. Well, they don't actually make that. But, I'm really excited. We've had a little bit of time off. Stat padded a result against Morecambe. Where they literally put 11 men on the goal line. But
the whole purpose of that game was just to get Havertz and Werner to score, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? Sometimes it's that little thing that gives you the most confidence. You know, it's the little things. Spurs. They're on to the Carabao Cup final. If they win that, it'll spiral on to hopefully nothing else. But I think it's little confidence boosters that will hopefully just open the floodgates and then they'll just be relentless.
Yeah. It's interesting as well because you've obviously loaned one of your golden boys, Loftus-Cheek, to someone who's meant to be your nearest rivals. So that's kind of interesting as well, really. How look, is it actually a derby or not? Because you lot, I know I bring it up with you a lot, but you lot chant a lot about us before match days. So, is it really a rivalry? Is it anything past a local derby?
Well, yeah, it's a local derby. You can't.
But is it past it though? Do you want to thrash Fulham? If you lose to Fulham, does it feel embarrassing?
Here's the thing: we have so many enemies right now. I think I hate Leeds more than I do Fulham. But when Fulham aren't, they're doing well now, but on an average of the last, 10 years or so, the best they've done is get to a Europa League final against, was it Juventus?
It was against Juventus.
Atletico
Madrid. So,
they beat Juventus.
It is a derby, it is a rivalry, but is it on the forefront of my mind and priority? Probably not. The main thing is just go there, get a result, and hopefully climb up the table.
Right, let's move on from that then, because we can establish basically no one cares about a West London derby. we can establish that. So let's move on to the more obviously the serious topics, really. And you know what, Dan, you're the one that's more vocal about this. I'll let you kickstart it.
What about Lampard?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so look. I've said before, I've even said to Idan before, that I still think that Sarri gets a bad rap when it comes to his tenure at Chelsea. And I don't see what gasses Chelsea fans up about Lampard any more than what Sarri did. Because at least, Sarri won you a trophy, you got to a final, you lost it against Arsenal, one of the worst Arsenal sides in the past 10, 20 years. And on top of all of that, you've spent 200 million approximately, and you're currently
all from our resales.
Yeah, and pretty much you've had a bit of a rocky season. You had a really good stretch where I think you're a certain amount of games unbeaten, and then since then it's just been loss and draw. It's just been a bad run of games, and I think a lot of it goes down to Lampard, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think some of it does, but also you can't discount. You can't discount the problems we've had. We've had nearly all our wingers injured for most of the season, which is why we've seen Mount start on the wing at the beginning. Then he was put in as an 8, and since then he's been quite good. We've had Havertz on the wing, which doesn't play there. Ziyech has been injured for a while. So look, in the end of the day, Lampard has to make some decisions. Yeah, sure, maybe we could have used a different formation, but maybe Werner and Giroud up top. But look, there's only so much you can do when sometimes you have a slight shortage of players. And I'm not saying I'm not saying he won't get criticism, because I do have questions about some of the decisions that he makes. But it's a process, and I believe in Frank. And I think it can only get better.
Dev, as you know, a Man United fan who had a very bad start to the season, and obviously looking at where you are now, what's your thoughts on kind of like, because it almost seems like a bit of an inversion of what's happened with Chelsea and United. Chelsea were the team that everyone, well, mostly Chelsea fans, but everyone thought they'd at least be in the discussion of the title, and now it seems like United are very much the ones in that picture, and Chelsea are falling behind.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot has been said about United recently, but in terms of this particular thing, in terms of like comparing it with Lampard and where Chelsea are at, we have a very similar situation that we've got an older legend coming in to take on it's kind of a sinking ship in United's perspective at least, but you know, you got Chelsea who have benefited from things that United haven't, in terms of you could say the embargo was an unwanted benefit towards them, and Lampard's had probably not that much more money to deal with, but it's been expected him to do a lot more business, and he has done that. What I think is a bit strange, if I'm honest, is that when Ollie started and when he was going through rough patches and everything like that, every single person was hammering in at his transfer negotiations, at his perceived lack of leadership, his inability to change tactics. Lampard's doing the exact same thing, and I don't think that Chelsea do play decent football, and they've got good players, and I think sometimes how good their players are on paper tend to kind of take them out of a crap position, which Lampard usually puts them in. So I think if he wasn't Lampard, he'd be gone by now. If he was Sarri, he'd be gone ages ago. But just because he holds
I
that
100% agree with you.
Pedigree at the club,
I have fully agree with
they
that.
maintain it.
I have to say that Lampard is, I don't know, I feel like he's a little bit too protected as a manager. I get it.
He gets a lot of free passes.
I get that there's sentimental meaning behind it. Like, Lampard is a prolific English midfielder and obviously a Chelsea legend as well. Even though it was really West Ham who discovered him, not Chelsea, but we won't go into that. I also feel that...
Just like how Arsenal discovered Harry Kane, or we not going
no,
into
it was
that?
actually...
No, that's different. That is
Very
different.
different.
That's different.
West Ham did actually give him a shot.
As I was saying, I feel like if it was any other manager, you know, they'd have already been out the door if you judge it even by last season. You know, you look at Avram Grant as well, for example. I mean, the guy got into cup finals, even finished second place, a Champions League final included, but he got sacked for that.
Yeah.
I will say one thing in
any
his
other
defense,
manager.
one thing in his defense that I think is also another reason why he's getting a lot of, at least from the Chelsea board, he's still getting backed. He's getting, you know, a free pass for these really bad results. Is that he did, although, you know, he lost the final, but like he did a good job last year. They had a transfer ban, although they still technically brought a couple of players in. And he got them Champions League football, which was really the aim. Like, no one was expecting him to. A lot of people didn't expect him to get Champions League football. A lot of people put him in like the bottom half of his first season, and he did well. Did very well considering.
Okay, but look, this is going to be a very tough game for Chelsea, if I've got to be honest. I mean, if you compare Tottenham and Chelsea, they're different. I get it, that fixtures are very different, all right? But the levels between Tottenham and Chelsea it's almost like at the same level, you know, in terms of, you know, players, in terms of, you know, defensive abilities. And Fulham will be facing another, you know, difficulty coming up. And they just got a point out of it against Tottenham. So Chelsea as well, obviously not in like the happiest of vibes at the moment, obviously, you know, especially recently losing to Man City. How do you feel like this game is going to go, Idan? Do you feel confident that you can get 3 points out of this? Or do you think it could be one of those days where it's just another woe for Chelsea?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what they say, you're only really as good as your last result. And if we do win, I'm not going to, you know, kind of go punching the air saying, oh, Chelsea are back, Chelsea are in the title race, you know, all that. Lampard's at the wheel, because we all know how that went. And I'm not going to... It's a process in the end of the day. Not a process in terms of, oh, you know, trust the process, trust the manager. It's more kind of like, you know, you're going to win this game. What can you do on the next? What can you do on the next? And it's about building confidence. And against City, we were awful. You know, we pressed way too high, and it was just so lethargic.
And very bad defensive errors.
It was horrific. But I think if you look at our next run of fixtures, I think it's Fulham, there's Leicester, which is a tough fixture, and there's some other teams that maybe aren't as of a big team as we faced before, maybe City or Wolves or Everton or Villa, who are doing really well. So I think it will be a nice confidence booster if we can bounce back on results.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's go around in circles just very quickly to end this video. Score predictions. Honestly, I think this could be another draw for Fulham that they could really get in the bag. It could even be 0-0, but I'll say 1-1 again.
1-0 Fulham. Part of it's just saltiness from last night, but I'd love to see it.
You always get goals kind of both ways with Chelsea, but I can't see Fulham getting past them. I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
And Idan.
Well, here's the thing. I think based off of a lot of our results from this season and last season, then I'm kind of inclined to give one of the teams a score with a number 3 in it, considering our shirt sponsor. We've had 3-3 against Southampton, we've had 3-3 against West Brom, we lost 3-2 to West Ham last season, but I think I might have
3-1.
Dev.
What was
I think I'm going to agree with Dev. I think it's going to be 2-1 Chelsea. However, I thought Fulham were really good yesterday, so
it's one of those that you should win, but I can see him snatching something.
Exactly.
But anyway, thanks for watching this video, guys. Another episode of Football Saddos. First one completed. Comment below as well if you think Frank Lampard is getting protected by Chelsea, or do you think that that's just a standard treatment of another manager and they are in fact giving him a chance like any other manager would at Chelsea? Let me know. But that's another video done. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Hit the bell.
And we'll see you for the next video.